Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The Ascension Board of Adjustment is now called to order. My name is James Cecil. Roll call for the members, Mr. Brad Walker.
Here.
Mr. Howard Dalton.
Here.
Mr. Bryce Cox.
Here.
It'll be known in the minutes that Mr. Alvin Madere, which is Vice Chairman, and Miss Kathy Desideer is not with us tonight. At this particular point in time, we're going to roll as fast as we can to catch up. We have a public comment period. This is the time to promote helpful ideas for Ascension Parish Board of Adjustment as provided by you, the public, that may help us run a little bit more efficiently and better. You have. Thank you, cameraman. If you have any comments that would be helpful for the Board of Adjustments at this particular point in time, or you'd like to express what a terrible job we're doing, or what a great job we're doing, now's your opportunity. I see everybody jumping. Okay, with that said, as you've seen the sign when you came in tonight, please turn off all your cell phone, pagers, and if it requires to use these items, please go out that double set of doors right there and go ahead and conduct your business, because it is very important for this board to hear and understand each applicant and each individual's concern. Okay. At this time, I'd like to have the acceptance motion for the acceptance of the minutes for April 25th, the 2006 meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And also the acceptance of the written decision on April 25th of 2006 meeting.
So moved. Second.
Any opposed? So carried. At this particular point in time, we're going to go ahead and start with our public hearing. First on the agenda tonight, hang on just a second. We do have two cancellations. I don't know if you have
Revised. Yeah, she put a revised over here. Thank you, Ms. June.
but we have two withdrawals tonight, and that was 1460.06.
A.
And we also have 1495.06. Those have been withdrawn, and it's either A and G. First on the agenda tonight is the 1478.06, Lot 2GA1 for Cynthia Stafford. This is located south of Norman Dare Road, approximately 500 feet east of LA Highway 941. That's a Brittany Tower Road.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm Cynthia Stafford, and I'm representing Fannie Mae, who is a repo company, and also the Lamberts. I have a property listed on 43055 Norman Dyer Road, and the only reason we're asking for this variance is because evidently this property has been subdivided many times, but I found like some maps from 1999, 2001, and 2003. And the property that I have listed, the house, is approximately 15 years old. And it seems like I'm not sure if it was the 2001 or the 2003, but when they re-subdivided the lots, the improvements were not put on the maps, and the driveway and a portion of the utility room is on the adjoining lot. And this house has been vacant and sitting for 5 years. I've been having to have grass cut on it, and we have came to a compromise with the owner of the lot next to us to give up their property rights to it for a sum of money, and my repo company is just ready to get this over with. I did speak to, and I guess it's okay if I name names because he said it was okay. Sam, okay, Sam Spellagine, and he told me that the people across the street had a concern about it, and he called me and asked me why we were trying to get the lot, the variance of probably 87 feet of the house, of the lot next to us. And when I explained to him that the driveway and part of the utility room was on the next lot, and we were just trying to clear a title, well, he said his people were completely okay with it. But they had already sent a letter to you, not in favor of it, and their name is Kitty and Jim, and I can't pronounce their last name. And
Yes, ma'am, we do have that letter before.
okay, and anyway, I do have all of the maps from 99 to 2003 that shows where they've been re-subdivided and subdivided again, and actually where my driveway and a portion of my carport sits on the adjoining lot.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
do you have any questions, please?
Uh,
I have these maps if you'd like to review them.
Actually, we do have some already, ma'am, to be honest with you.
Okay. Yeah, I got a whole stack from 1999.
It's okay to be prepared, though.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and open up public hearing.
Second.
Public hearing is now open. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask the public to speak either in your behalf or opposed to your request.
Okay.
And I think the public just heard me explain that. So do we have anybody in the audience at this particular point in time that would like to speak in favor of or against this young lady's request?
Do I need to just sit down?
No, I'd rather for you just stand up right at this
Okay.
particular point in time, because if we don't have anybody speaking, that just means you got to get right back up.
Okay, the only thing I can say is that Miss Lambert is in the back over here, and she is the one that will actually be taking the property because the driveway sits on her lot, and she is in favor of it. We did come to a compromise.
Ms. Lambert, would you like to make a statement, or is her statement adequate for your? Okay, we just want to make sure. Got to stay legal. Yeah, this is
They're not here.
this letter here that we have in front of us apparently has been withdrawn,
They're not here.
and they are not here,
I do have their telephone number if you'd like to call them.
ma'am.
I do have their telephone number
Oh,
if you'd like to call them.
that won't be necessary, ma'am.
Can I ask one question? I noticed we're talking about a driveway and a utility room, but there's a trailer in the back that seems to come across the line also. How does that come into play on this?
Well, I think what the surveyor said that we had to go 10 feet all the way around that trailer, and so that's what we planned on doing. It would be cut out completely. And that trailer belongs to her grandmother, who doesn't drive,
Miss
So we're
Lambert.
not-
Miss Lambert.
They should have been this lot, not this one.
Right.
Okay.
There's also title problems on the back and on the other side that we're trying to work out too, but I don't think it's going to require a variance. There's overlapping titles.
By all means.
You're a FEMA official?
Oh, no.
You're a real estate agent?
I'm a real estate broker that represents Fannie Mae, who is a company that...
I understand who Fannie Mae is. So
Okay.
then you are really here without standing to represent the letter signed by Cynthia Stanford. Is that correct?
I am...
Oh, you're Cynthia Stanford?
I'm Cynthia Stafford, Mrs. Renee.
Where's the letter of objection? I didn't get that.
That was from Kitty and Jim.
So Catherine S. Gromich,
Not here.
Not here.
They live out of state, and they were in correspondence with Sam Spellagine, who explained to them.
nothing to substantiate that.
Oh, I just have their telephone number.
Well, we don't normally call people.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Well, no, but my point is, I'm sure you're telling the truth, but they're not here to speak, so therefore that puts a question in my mind.
Okay.
The other question that I have is, I'm looking at the original variance and zoning request. This is the purpose. Variance requested to release encroachment of driveway and carport on adjacent lot, which I see that on the map or the survey for Lot 2 GA1, and it looks like somebody has attempted to address the question of the trailer on the color-coded map that we all have. But that's not what the variance request,
Right.
if that makes any sense.
From what I understand, we didn't need to really address the variance request on the mobile home because it was the frontage that was in concern, and that we do need to abide by the parish codes to go at least 10 feet around it.
Can I get a legal comment on that? Does this make any sense to you, sir?
Absolutely.
Please explain it to me.
She's requesting a variance on the frontage. She has the adequate size of the lot, so it doesn't matter everything else. The only thing that they're requesting a variance on is the difference between 187.5 And the request for the variance is because there's an encroachment on a piece of property.
Right here.
Uh,
Yeah.
And that's all they're trying to do is resolve the encroachment. It has nothing to do with where the trailer really is a red herring. That's got nothing to do with this.
Okay, thank you. So then the porch of the residence that extends into the existing 25-foot building line is not an issue as well?
No.
Okay, thank you.
All they're asking for is a variance.
We're just trying to get enough on the driveway to cut the grass.
Just want to make sure on safe ground, you understand?
Okay.
And this lady back here is the one that owns this property?
No, she will own the property.
She's going to buy this property,
Yes,
this narrow lot.
yes.
I have no further questions.
Does anybody in the audience have any further questions? If not, let's close the public hearing.
Motion to
Public
close.
hearing be
public
closed.
Second. Who owns this?
Public hearing is now closed. Did any board member have any further
I
questions?
just want clarification on something.
ahead.
So who owns this property now? It's in yellow.
The owner of the property, are you talking about the house?
No, the little narrow strip that's going to be 87 feet.
That's Miss Lambert back here.
That's the lady right there.
She owns that now.
Yes.
Okay. And you agree, and you're okay with the fact that it's going to be narrower now? You're giving up that piece of property?
Right, I understand that the condition requires 10 feet, and we just want to have about 4 feet off the edge of the
That gives them the 12 foot. Any other board member have any further questions for this young lady? No one? Do I have a motion on the floor to accept or deny?
I'll make a motion to accept due to the unique circumstance of clearing the title and correcting the issue in the past with the driveway.
We have a second.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a motion to accept as written. Anybody in opposition? Motion carries. Variance granted, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Next on the agenda tonight is 1491.06, Track 2A2 for Black Mule Developers, LLC. It's located on the east side of LA 73, Old Jefferson Highway, approximately 1,000 feet north of LA Highway 42.
Good evening. I'm Chris Blackstone of Black Mule Developers, and we have developed an office park, business park at Oak Grove on Old Jefferson, and are requesting a variance on one of the individual pad sites on the development to decrease the building setback lines on the north and the east sides of Pad D, as listed on your survey map. And I have actually spoken with both adjacent property owners and received written letters from both the Ascension Parish School Board concerning the school and Laverne King from Volks Construction. If y'all would like to see copies of those letters, I brought
Yes, sir, I would.
copies. Okay.
Because we do not have copies of those letters.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir. These are copies. It's something that you can give us and let us keep, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
As you can see on the plot, the corner of the building, of a 5,000 square foot building, would barely go over the building setback line, and just requesting a variance to decrease those setbacks.
Okay. 2.6 feet from the side and 5 foot from the rear.
Yes, sir.
That's correct.
Yes.
Let's go ahead and open up public hearing, please, sir.
So moved.
Second.
Public hearing is now open. Anybody in the audience would like to speak for or against this gentleman's request? Now's your opportunity. I can't draw a good crowd.
The 15-foot servitude, is that the granny servitude? Is that on the other piece of property? I'm looking.
Yeah, it's across the fence. Yes, sir. Yeah, on the Volk side. Yes, sir.
All right, let's close public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Public hearing is now closed. Do any of the board members have any further questions for this
Yes,
gentleman?
sir, I do.
Now's your time.
Sir, did you get a survey before you poured your slabs?
The slab has not been poured.
Oh,
It's a pad site. The parking lot's been poured. The engineers just basically miscalculated the corner of the building, and so right now it's just an empty lot within the development.
Well, one of the requirements that we have for a variance is the hardship must not be self-imposed. And to me, this looks like it's self-imposed by your engineering staff, which therefore would preclude it from being, in my opinion, something awarded by this board. So,
Okay.
in other words, what you just said is the slab has not been poured, your engineering staff goofed, so why can't they fix it?
Well, they can't fix it because there's nowhere to go. The parking lot is poured, so you can't slide the building. I guess it would be south
So technically.
towards the parking lot.
Because the parking lot's in place.
Yeah.
Well, why couldn't you?
Well, actually, I disagree with that because you can certainly cut out the parking lot and move the building so it's in compliance with the code. The building has not been built.
No, it has not. No.
Okay.
We actually applied for the permit to build it, and then the permit office was the one that brought this to our attention when the layout was laid.
My point is, this is a self-imposed hardship because your engineering staff drops the ball.
Well, I guess you could call it my staff, but
Okay.
may I say something real quick?
Go ahead, sir.
On that note, if both adjacent property owners have no objection to moving the building line over 2.5 feet and 5 feet respectively, I don't understand why it would be an issue.
Because
I can understand
it's a
it's-
self-imposed hardship. In other words, your people drops the ball. It's not because you got a unique piece of land. It's not because it's a strange shape or something happened before you owned it. My point is, I view this as a self-imposed hardship because your engineering staff made a mistake.
Any, you finished with your comment? I'm done. Okay, does anybody have any further questions from this board?
Are the other buildings on this that are in gray right here already built?
One of them is built and occupied, and one is in the
A, B, or C?
A is built. C is now being built.
It's in the process of being built.
Yes, sir. And D is the only one where there's any kind of issue because just the way that the building pad was turned.
Any other further questions?
Yeah. Is there any type of fence that's going to go around the property that would go on the property line?
On that side, we actually brought that up with the Ascension Parish School Board if they would like, and they didn't request it. Chad Lynch, as you see, signed the letter. He went before their council. They had a meeting last week. They had no issue with it. We actually brought that up and would
Also,
consider doing that if we needed to.
Is it it's not the whole side of the building? It looks like the building and the
It's
land
just-
is kind of
it's just a
angled.
little
It's just
corner.
the back corner.
Yes.
Well, actually, I think it's on 2 dimensions.
Well, it's on the corner on the north, and then it's 5 feet on the east, towards the back of the property.
Is there anything adjacent as far as building wise on the outside?
That's the parking lot.
No, I'm talking about like on the other people's property, not your property. How far is the building? I know the school. I know that's far, but what about right behind y'all?
Volks Construction?
Yeah, how far is the nearest building?
Oh. I mean, I would hate to guess, but it's not. I mean, he's got a huge warehouse back there. It's not close.
Good distance.
Yeah,
Distance.
yeah.
So
And there's an actual
about
fence.
1,050 meters.
There's an actual fence on that side. There's an existing fence that Volks Construction has up.
How far from your building to that fence?
Probably about 25 feet.
It's good ways.
Their fence isn't on the line.
Oh, no.
No. That's what the drawing shows.
If you gave him the variance, nothing would be obstructed. So, again, that's going back, excuse me, that's going back to what I said, what he's requesting is 2 foot 6 on from the side and 5 foot from the rear.
Well, Mr. Chairman, my point herein is that from the looks of this drawing, if it's to scale, there's adequate room to move the building where this variance is not needed, and it is clearly self-imposed.
On that note,
I understand you.
But I also think, too, if you move the building, you're going to lose a parking requirement.
that's
I have to count the spaces, and
that's where we
variance.
are. Yeah,
You'll
and we have
lose
actually
basically the parking requirement, so it'd be a variance on parking if you moved it and lose the
It-
parking.
You would lose the distance, the depth-wise of it, so possibly, I don't know how much, I don't know how much you'd actually cut off that side, but there would be a parking requirement, and I don't really know the total amount of parking would be required.
But it looks like to me that there would be an issue there on the parking. In other words, what I'm saying is, it looks like he'll come back for a variance for the parking.
You would shorten it up, which would also, your back and your being able to get out would be taken up.
Yeah.
And I also see a lot of space around the tree. I mean, is this more of an area as
Yeah.
far as space as opposed to eliminating the tree and just putting the parking smack in the middle of the buildings? I do see some effort to, landscape and keep the natural setting with the oak tree in the middle, as opposed to tearing it down and putting parking, because that would be my second guess. If you had to move the building, the tree's got to go because parking's got to go.
Do we have any further questions, gentlemen? Are we going to put a motion on the floor at this time?
Is it closed?
Yeah, the public hearing is closed.
Oh, it was closed.
Yes, sir.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that this be disapproved because this is a self-induced hardship. I think there's opportunity here that the building has not been built for the landowner and/or developer to resolve this problem with a slight rotation of the building to ensure that he has adequate clearance from the property lines that will not adversely affect any parking issues. I think the homework has not been done on this to solve this problem before it came before this board. So therefore, I recommend disapproval. That's my
Second
motion.
All right, we got we got a motion to deny the request as written.
Second.
And we also have a second. Any opposed?
Opposed?
I oppose too. I'm sorry, gentlemen, but I see this matter is not, I understand what you're saying, but this brings us down to a split here, 2 to 2.
So I'd like to come back next month. I'm not prepared to change my motion because I feel strongly this is a self-induced hardship.
Let's, do you want to make a motion?
I mean, I'll make a motion to accept just due to the fact that I think they've tried to utilize the space. I understand the space in the back is short, but they utilize the space elsewhere where we're seeing more of a natural setting than a bunch of squished up buildings next to each other. So on that grounds, to me, I would accept it. Because, I mean, technically, if I want to look at, I know I necessarily can't say if this is something in Baton Rouge that I don't want to see buildings and nothing but buildings and parking lot myself. And to me, I think that's what you would get if you eliminated that tree area to add parking just to move the building.
Mr.
So,
Chairman, I'm not advocating that that the tree be eliminated. I'm merely stating that I think this problem can be solved on the premises by rotating the building about 15 degrees.
I noticed your calculation. May I see that, please? May I see what you've done?
Well, and to go along with that, I think that if you'll notice under our guidelines, number 7 right there, it says must be showing that the granting of the variance requested would not confer on the applicant any special privilege that is denied by this ordinance to other land, structure, and building in the same district. And I think we are going definitely against that if we pass this. And so I think for the reason exactly you stated in the original motion, that the homework has not been done on this and before it came to us, and
I agree with you.
I'm
I agree. It is specifically stated, and
we're
I'm
granting him something that we wouldn't grant.
we'll just going to go with the original motion to deny.
And call for a revote.
And that's what I'm going to do right now. Any opposed?
opposed?
All in favor?
All in favor? Okay. Motion carries. Variance is denied.
Matt, can I ask one thing? Just, he mentioned about the homework. I mean, I'm not exactly sure what else.
Sir, I
What else
think
we
if you
can
take
do?
and rotate that building just a few degrees, I think you can maintain most of the parking and still meet the requirements. Now, that's how I view it based
Okay.
on the information presented here.
No, I understand that, but I just, all I
Yeah,
want
we're
to
not-
say is that we tried to do
Well,
that.
sir, to be honest with
So-
you, I can't tell your engineering staff what to do, okay?
Sure.
That's something for your
Okay.
engineering staff to do so.
Thank you.
And the motion carried, and it is denied.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the agenda tonight is 1492.06 for Leonard Owens, located south side of Anderson Road, 1,500 feet east of Stevenson Road. Sign in and state your case, please, sir. Also, I'll take your Leonard.
Yes, sir. Chairman, Councilman Leonard
Chairman.
Owens.
Don't put me in that category.
I'm sorry.
Oh, they're going to see this on TV and they're going to laugh. Go ahead, sir. I'm sorry.
I'm here. My name is Leonard Owens. I'm here to get a permit to be able to get a FEMA trailer, temporary housing. Back in August the 29th, when Katrina came through, they over here at 915 George Avenue, it blew a tree over in our house. And ever since then, we have been staying with my daughter, and we have been trying to get some temporary housing until we could get some things settled. So that's my purpose for being here this evening.
Okay, sir. Let's go ahead and open public hearing.
So moved.
So moved.
Public hearing is now open. Anybody would like to speak in favor of or against this gentleman's request? Let's go ahead and close public hearing.
So moved.
Public hearing is now closed. Let me remind the board that we do have a provision for these FEMA trailers, which has been in our charter for quite some time. So I just want to reiterate. Boy, I'm bad with words tonight. Reiterate that tonight, yeah.
Do we have a copy of that?
Yeah, it's about the family members.
No, I see that about the family members, but about the FEMA trailers.
No, it's.
No, I don't know if you were here when that came out.
It came out.
Didn't the council pass something and send it to us requesting that guidelines that we use when we?
Yes, but we still had a immediate family ordinance already in place, which allows us to either to give or grant a variance for that. So that's well within the guidelines. So
Okay.
I just,
So that's not something that
what
we-
I was doing was reminding you that we've already have a ordinance in place already.
Right, I understand. I just wanted to make sure that there was nothing in that request. It was a request from the council that we
Yeah,
consider
it was
certain
just
things.
considered.
Right.
That's consideration. It's
Okay.
not,
There's nothing in there that we need to.
no, sir. There's nothing we need to address.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion. Or, do you have a comment?
Well, I just got a couple of questions.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Mr.
About
Brett.
how big is the lot
The lot is,
that y'all want to put the trailer on?
0.28 acres.
0.28 acres, it says. Total acreage of the property is 0.28 acres.
Is there something already on it?
yes, sir. There is a mobile home on it now.
And you're adding a second one for the FEMA trailer? Is that second one that you're?
That would be a second one, yes, sir.
Anyone living in that trailer right now, currently?
I'm sorry.
Anyone?
Daughter.
Your daughter's living in?
My daughter's living in that one.
In that one? Okay.
Yes, sir.
That's fine.
And so this would be a temporary thing until you.
We're able to settle some issues, yes, sir.
He's,
Is it a FEMA trailer that FEMA provided to you?
Yes, sir. As far as I know, that's who we are trying to attain it from.
oh, you haven't obtained it yet?
No, sir. What it is they're requesting a permit in
Permit.
order for us to be able
Okay.
to.
First things first kind of thing.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
What type of time frame are you looking at that you need this trailer on there?
That's a
for?
very good question. I really couldn't say at this point because there are some things that financially we got to get straight and some things that we got to get straight legally.
Yes, right.
So I couldn't give you an answer because of the fact.
But your motion would state, if you brought a motion
Going
forward.
along, just to kind of pigtail off of that question right there that you just asked him. I mean, so if we get the variance and we allow the secondary home and FEMA gives you the trailer, is that for forever? I mean, the trailer or
No, sir. No, sir.
certain time, certain,
Yeah.
they only give them for a certain amount of time?
That is correct. That is
Okay.
correct.
Mr. Cox, perhaps I can address your concerns with the motion that I'd like to make,
Okay.
if the timing is appropriate.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that this variance be approved specifically to authorize a FEMA trailer, be it so provided by the Federal Emergency Management Agency, be placed on this property for the appropriate amount of time as authorized by FEMA. I think it's an excellent land use. Yes, it's a tight piece of property, but it's got two things going for it. It's a FEMA trailer, and two, it's a secondary family residence, and everybody needs their own bedroom.
Thank you, sir.
I agree with that.
Thank you, sir.
I just
And I'll second that motion.
okay, we got a motion on the floor to accept as written. Any opposition? Motion carries. Variance is granted, sir. You can get your permit, and hopefully you can get your own bedroom.
Thank you all.
You're
Y'all have a good evening.
Next on the agenda is 1493.06, Lot 16 of Country Acre subdivision for Mr. Clark Stafford, located on the west side of LA Highway 932, which is Joe Severio Road, approximately 200 feet south of Burtonville Road. I feel bad about that.
Me too. My name is James Landry, here on behalf of my father-in-law, Mr. Clark Stafford.
You're
the re-
speaking on his behalf?
Yeah, he's
Oh, okay.
here. He's here. I'm just
So, in other words, you won't be in opposition, right?
no.
Okay.
The reason I'm asking for the variance is to reduce the road frontage to approximately 84 and a half feet.
Oh, okay. So he's only talking about 5.63.
Yeah.
Okay. 5.63 feet
Per lot.
per lot. That's right.
You're talking about dividing lot 16 in half.
Yes.
Wait a minute.
Am I reading this correctly?
You correct.
They want to chop lot 16 in half. It's already small.
What I'm reading is they want to take it and do
The
this.
minimum requirement is 90 feet, so whether it's small or not is not the issue.
Right.
It's whether it meets the minimum requirement.
You understand? I'm just trying to figure out exactly what it is because they didn't show a dividing line on lot 16.
So you're still talking about 0.5 of an acre.
Yeah.
Open public hearing, please.
Motion Second.
Public hearing is now open. I know this gives you all time to think. Anybody in the audience like to speak in favor of or against this gentleman's request? I know you don't. I'm kidding.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Sir, make sure I understand exactly what you're asking. Lot 16 fronts on Joseph Area Road, which runs north and south.
Yes, sir.
You want to divide Lot 16 basically in half in an east-west direction so that you've got roughly 84 feet
84 and a half
of each,
feet.
so it's like 16A and 16B, if you
Yes, sir.
will. You got 84-foot frontage on Joseph Area Road for each lot.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so make sure I understand. Thank
Yes.
you.
Lance, is there it's medium intensity residential, is there a minimum lot size? Not frontage. Is there a
Right, it's
minimum-
16,000 square feet, and he wouldn't meet that requirement.
Would this be,
Yes, sir.
we have
If you have
.425
an-
acres, and that meets at 16? Okay,
Yes, sir, it does.
okay, thank you. Both lots then would meet that requirement.
Yes.
So the only thing it doesn't meet is the frontage, okay?
Close close.
So moved.
Does anybody
Yes, I did. Okay. Public hearing is now closed. Any further questions by the board member?
It'll help.
Thank you. I'm trying to stutter here all night.
Mr. Chairman, if there are no further questions, I'll make a motion.
Do so.
I'd like to make a motion that this variance be approved based on, one, the minimal variance requested, and two, the fact that existing Lot 16 does have a unique characteristic in that there's an existing ditch on two of the sides, therefore which limits what can be done with it, and this would be in harmony with existing land use with minimum impact on the minimum size, if that makes any sense.
Yes, it does. Do we have a second?
Second.
On any opposition? Motion carries.
Thank you, Jim.
Variance is granted, sir. You're welcome. Next on the agenda tonight is 1494.06, Lot 6 of the Joseph Myers property for Darrell and Lori Myers, located on the west side of LA Highway 22, approximately 2,400 feet north of LA Highway 937.
Hello, I'm Lori
Hello, ma'am.
Myers. My husband and I bought this particular lot from his uncle, his uncle's daughters after he passed away, and we're planning on building a house. So we're in the process of having our house plans drawn by the architect. The lot is only 81 feet wide, so we were told that we have to have 10 foot of servitude on each side of the house, so we're trying to get it reduced to 5 on each side.
Your lot is lot number 7?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's not clearly stated.
Go ahead. Somebody open up public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Public hearing is now open. Do we have anybody in the audience who would like to speak in favor of or against this young lady's request? I'm having a hard time speaking tonight, people. Please excuse me.
So if I could ask you, so you're going to put this mobile home on there while you're in the process of building the house?
No, sir. We're on his dad's property right now in a mobile home. We're going to construct the home on that site. There was a mobile home that was on it. It's been sold and moved off. So right now, it's just a bare lot.
Okay, I guess I'm confused now. Lance, go ahead.
They're going to be constructing a home on the property.
On this lot,
On
they're
this
building
lot.
a house?
Yes, yes.
But
And the house is going to be, I think it said 67 feet
Right.
wide.
Right.
And with that being stated, the lot is only 81 feet wide, and the minimum setback, or the minimum side setback, is 10 feet. So even if they placed it in the center of the lot, that would only leave 7 feet on each side.
Okay, all right, so it's a home they're building, okay.
Yes,
all
sir.
right.
And we were told by the parish that the servitude on the right-hand side our driveway would be considered adequate servitude. So we can have concrete on the right side, but on the left side, we're either going to have to shrink our house or get a variance. Either, it's all family land that's around, and his aunt was in agreeance. So this was just the next step.
All right, let's close.
I move the public hearing be closed.
Second.
Public hearing is now closed. Do we have any further questions by the board members? Mr. Dalton?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to move that this variance be granted because, one, construction has begun. Two, this lot is long and skinny, which I think is a kind of a unique characteristic of the lot. It's only 84 feet wide. The variance is 3 feet on either side, which I view as a minimal impact. So,
We have a motion to accept as written.
Second.
We also have a second. Any opposition?
Opposed?
Motion carries. Variance is granted.
So we have a 5-foot variant, 5 foot on each side. Is that what we have to leave open for open access?
7.
Yeah, my calculations come out to be you would be 7.
7
So-
feet on each side.
7 on each side.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
That's what I'm reading here, too. 7.
Okay.
Which includes the eaves and everything, I mean, as far as.
It does include the
You can get
overhang.
layers and
Okay.
all that.
Thank you.
What, she's got to get a permit. Next on the agenda tonight is 1497.06, Lot 24A for Hobart Oaks subdivision. It's located on the south side of Parker Road, approximately 250 feet east of Ascension Parish Highway 929.
Good evening, gentlemen. My name is Kelly Grigg. Had a little statement I'd like to make. I'd like to thank you for this opportunity to speak to you and have your consideration towards my petition for the zoning variance. I was a former resident of New Orleans. I lived at the edge of Lakeview and near the city park area, and I had 7 feet of water at my home. I am unable to return there. Since the flood, I initially stayed with friends in the surrounding area in Harahan, Baton Rouge, what have you. And I didn't want to wear my welcome out. I tried staying a few months at each place. As you said before, I really would like to get my own bedroom. At the past 2.5 months, I finally found a room to stay at the Baton Rouge and Extended Stay Hotel. FEMA is currently not paying money for it, and it's costing me a little over $2,000 a month. I have been very fortunate, though, since the storm. I was able to retain my job, and I've been working. I'm a contract computer consultant. I work supporting and developing Navy projects. But they had a lot of damage at the tech center that was at UNO campus near Lake Pontchartrain. They've scattered the offices all around the country, really, anywhere from Fort Worth, Houston, Tennessee. I was recently working in Baton Rouge, and they've since moved me to Mandeville, so I'm doing a bit of commuting now. It makes it a little bit difficult. Even that apartments around might be an option for me to look at. I'm having a difficult time with that because most of them have sky-high rates, plus they want a year or more lease. At this point, that's the reason I'm looking to see if I could get a temporary FEMA trailer allowed to be placed on my cousin's property. I really do just want a temporary place to stay. I'm looking at no more than 6 to 8 months, basically to use this time to consolidate finances, try to get financial and business priorities together, find out exactly when the job is going to be moved possibly back to New Orleans or maybe back to Baton Rouge again. I would like to save money. My long-term goal is to buy a house. Before I left New Orleans, I had actually incorporated myself as a business. I was looking into doing my own computer consulting, setting up servers for web hosting and such. I'm looking for a place to sit down and start that again. If I have a trailer and a place to call home for a few short months to get things together, hopefully I can start to set that up again. I'd like to feel that I'm a motivated person. I do like to contribute to whatever area I'm in. I'd like to close saying that following the months of Katrina, I actually was able to stay with Mike and his family. And I had a time to get in touch with the people of Prairieville out in the restaurants, the grocery stores, Walmart, and it was a very nice community, very receiving people. And I would like to, hopefully they could be my temporary neighbors at least for a few months, and long-term possibly be permanent neighbors, because I do tend to build a home. Maybe I could be a fellow homeowner and business owner in the area. And I would like your consideration for this, please. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Go ahead and open up public hearing, please.
Move we open up public hearing.
Second.
Public hearing is now open. Anybody in the audience would like to speak in favor of or against this gentleman's request, please sign in and state to the podium, please, sir.
My name is Lee Rowley. I live next door to Mr. Cousins. I came in February when this first came out, and I opposed it. The land, I don't know whether, I'm just going by what I've been told by the council, that it's got to be a half acre or more to put another trailer on the lot. That's not a half acre where he lives. It's got to be immediate relative. He's not. And I have a petition. I have the neighborhood restrictions that require no trailers on the property. I would like to have a copy of that.
Yes, sir. Bring it up. It doesn't really affect us, but I would like to see one little revision there.
I also have a petition from every neighbor in the subdivision that is against the FEMA trailer being put on the lot. If you would like a copy of that, I'll give you that too.
Well, I'm going to return this copy to you. I just
Okay.
wanted to see.
Mr. Lee, and I'm sorry I didn't catch.
Number two.
Riley.
Mr. Riley. Just for the record, so I understand, which lot is the one that you live on?
I live right next door to 27. I think it's 20. I think I'm in 20. Let's
That
see.
showed me 24A.
So I'm in 23.
You live in 23?
I'm right
23?
next to him.
Okay, thank you.
And part of my problem is I go to New Orleans every day. I see the FEMA trailers every day. I see subdivisions that are completed now that have been repaired, like Eden Isles. And guess what? They got FEMA trailers, and their FEMA trailers aren't going to go away. People want to move. FEMA can't move them. I mean, I'm concerned what's going to happen to the property values of our subdivision that we have. You have one FEMA trailer, and the whole subdivision has been devalued as soon as it goes put up. I know the intentions are to move in 4 or 5 months. I know that FEMA doesn't have the money to buy these trailers back, and they're going to sit there and sit there and sit there, and I can't see them being moved. I think they're going to try to offer them to the owners, the property, and I think the owners are probably going to buy them because it's going to be such a steal. How do we get them off?
Well, you understand, if we gave a variance tonight, just for an example, and it's not that I'm trying to convince this board to do so, but if we gave a variance, you understand it'd be a temporary variance.
Yes, sir.
Okay, it would not last the duration. In other words, he can't just keep carrying on. He would have to be off there anyhow, as per our request.
Right.
I'm just letting you know, it
Well,
wouldn't be a permanent situation.
I understand that. I just know that if anybody in that subdivision wants to sell their house, they're going to have to explain why that FEMA trailer is sitting down there.
I understand your comment, and
Right.
that's what you're here for.
Right.
Does anybody else, by all means, please sign in, sir, and state your name?
My name is Mike Cousins.
Mike Cousins.
Yeah, he's the applicant.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Lee says he works in New Orleans. I drive to New Orleans every day as well. I'm a civil engineer with a firm in New Orleans. Katrina affected all of us, and my good friend Kelly here has been, jumping around from place to place trying to get some place to stay. He was staying with us for a while. We have some pets, and he's allergic to pets, so that was kind of a hardship on his part. But we have Mr. Freddie Dufresne owns the adjacent property, and we talked to him, and he was fine with it. He owns a seafood restaurant on Highway 44. The property that I own is .56 acres. So it's a little bit over half an acre. If you look at it, it looks like 2 acres because there's a lot of land. I think we could put the FEMA trailer on it, and not even see it from the highway.
Because you have a house on there now?
Yes, I do. We moved up here basically because of Katrina. I still have a house in New Orleans I'm selling.
How far back from the road is your house?
It's a ways.
You put the trailer behind your house?
Behind the house. In fact, when this all began, we called FEMA. They sent their guys out. They surveyed my property. They put the orange paint down and the orange flags where the FEMA trailer was going to go. And we never heard anything else after that. And we were waiting and waiting for months and months. Kelly finally called the contractor who's supplying the FEMA trailers, and they said, oh, the paperwork's gone through 4 times.
Okay.
And he didn't even know that.
I'll get you
And they said, then that's when we found out that the Parish of Ascension was denying FEMA trailers because of the 50-trailer park that was trying to be developed.
Well, you understand there's a big difference. There's a big difference between a big FEMA trailer park, as you stated,
Yeah.
and individual that has family members that they want to move in temporarily with FEMA's graces.
Right.
And that's what I was talking about earlier about we have provisions for that when we're talking about family members.
Right. Well,
okay? That's a quote. Family members.
Mr. Gregg he happens to be the godfather of my children. So we're kind of like family. We're pretty close.
Go ahead, and then I'm going to allow this gentleman to make a rebuttal.
You said,
Thank you.
excuse me, Mr. Riley, could you hang on just a second for me? You said that the trailer is going to go behind the house.
Behind the house.
Okay, I have a couple of questions. Number one, there's enough room to have access to that trailer?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and number two, would it be sitting on top of what looks like a pipeline here, or what?
No, there's a shell pipeline that goes catty corner through my property,
I see it.
and the trailer is going to sit all the way to the other side of the property,
Okay. Next
behind
to
the
Riley's
house.
property.
Next to Mr. Riley's
That's
property.
what you're saying. Okay, thank you.
That's
Thank
what
you.
mine.
Now,
Mr. Riley, go ahead.
I just have a question. Like everybody else that's got property in New Orleans, why didn't he put it on his property in New Orleans? He's working in Mandeville.
Well, that's a question that
Well-
this board, I understand what you're saying, sir, but that's something we can't.
I got
ask
to
him
walk
about.
up every day, walk out the back door, and look at the FEMA trailer. I don't know his cousin or his godchild's parents. I don't know anything about him. I don't know who he is. I have 2 kids. There's a lot of young kids in the subdivision. It's a concern.
I understand. Thank you, sir.
I would like to speak.
Good. Well, come on up and sign in. We can allow you to do that. State
I'm
your
also a
name, please.
resident. I'm Scott Little. I'm also a resident of Hobart Oak subdivision, and actually several of the rest of the people around here are residents of Hobart Oak subdivision.
And where do you live at, sir, to kind of clarify
I am
this for the
on
board?
40231, the third house from the woods, coming from Highway 44.
Lot number?
Highway 44. I am 40231 lot.
How many lots over from Mr. Riley?
Oh, all the way on the other side.
On the other side.
On the other side of the
That's
subdivision.
fine, thank you.
I'm on the other side.
We don't have that on the plot, so, okay.
Yes, I don't know if it's lot 4 or I'm the third house from the actual
That's fine.
What
wood
he's
line.
talking about, we have a limited map.
Okay, I got you. I understand. I'm just, as far as the subdivision and having a trailer, I mean, I knew Miss Idell when I bought the property, and of course, she's passed away, her and her husband in a car crash, of course, maybe everybody knows, but she had strict rules in that subdivision, and as you can see, you was handed them, and I can tell you she would not allow anything like that if she was even alive today, and not that that really matters, but just being this is a subdivision, I don't see how that can be allowed. And also, this gentleman that bought the house, he has a car sitting on the side of his house that's just trashed, I guess. I don't know what it's doing there. And that's also
Excuse me, sir.
I'm speaking.
Excuse me.
That car is sitting on the side of his house, very trashy looking, and that is also against subdivision rules. So, of course, the whole subdivision is uncomfortable with what he's trying to do. It shouldn't be allowed. This is a subdivision. I bought in the subdivision because there was restrictions. If I wasn't worried about that, I'd have bought 5 acres of land and wouldn't have to worry about my property or anything being devalued from something like this. And I think Everybody has signed this. I was involved in it.
He had mentioned
And a
that.
lot of people cannot be here. There's families. Everybody cannot be here. But everybody in the subdivision did sign and did not want nothing to do with this.
You're saying everybody in the subdivision
Everyone in the
signed?
subdivision has signed. And his neighbor that he is speaking of, on the corner of him,
Yes, sir.
that is not part of our subdivision.
Is that a copy that you're getting? Something that we can keep?
Yes, you may. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, I believe he does.
Do what?
I believe he has enough copies to go around.
What is that, petition?
Yes, that's a petition. Thanks, sir. Sir, matter of fact, I'm going to ask you a question anyhow. 'cause when
Let me
it comes
address
to
two
subdivision
issues.
rules-
One, subdivision restrictions are private rights of actions to be enforced by the private parties, not the parish.
That's correct.
But with that, I mean, I'm from New Orleans, and I've got family that have flooded out too. But one of the requests that the parish council made when they directed about FEMA trailers that they not be placed in subdivisions where there were restrictions. Now, that's only a request, and the only reason I know that is because I drafted the ordinance. But that's your decision whether you do it, whether you grant the variance or not.
Now, I've seen that handwriting.
But that is not it's your choice. It's not, but that's one of the requests the parish council made.
Well,
That's the request I was talking about earlier when I said that they had submitted a draft of
just-
a request.
It was a request.
Just a request.
Just a request.
Right.
That of restrictions that you placed on FEMA trailers. But that's up to you, what
Right.
you do. That's a request. They didn't want to make an ordinance, and so it was sent to you as a request to please require this. But you don't have to. I mean, it was a resolution which is not binding upon you. It's your decision whether you grant a variance or not. But I'm just letting you know that was one of the issues that were brought up in it.
Thank you. And I'm going to add a little thing to that myself, make a little comment. Anytime we have subdivision rules, which was explained by council, that's their personal responsibility to maintain their rules and regulations, and it has nothing to do with the parish or the parish rules and regulations. And with this in mind, I don't like to tread on water.
Well, the subdivision restrictions is a covenant between the private individuals, and they have their own avenue to address that, which is due process through court if they don't like what's going on. That does not involve the parish. What's before us here is a question for a FEMA trailer in commensurate with what the parish council has requested us to consider, which is a request, not a mandate. But I see the gentleman back here in the green shirt appears to want to speak.
Hearing hadn't been closed, so.
No, the public hearing has not been closed.
So-
Come on up, sir. We're going to give you a chance to do that rebuttal.
When I moved into the neighborhood, my house is the last house in a row of houses along the street. I was not aware of any of the restrictions in the neighborhood. Mr. Lee just the other day has told me about the car. I'm still in the transition stage from moving from New Orleans to Prairieville. The car is there temporarily. It's going in storage. Okay, I understand. I'm a civil engineer. I know what people's concerns are. Mr. Lee had his house up for sale for a few days, about a week, when we bought our house. In fact, we were going to go look at his house. But he's expressed his concerns, and I'm addressing them. Okay, we're just asking for a
first of
FEMA
all,
trailer.
Before this board, we don't have to address the car issue, okay? That's not something that doesn't apply to this board.
That's correct.
That applies, again, as council has made mention, that that's your subdivision rules and regulations, and you have an avenue to handle your own situation there. So you are part of that covenant, and you either comply or don't comply,
Well-
but that's what your subdivision has to work out.
That's
Not-
correct.
This board doesn't work it out for you.
That's correct.
And so what I'm saying is, I'm not going to cut you short, but as far as addressing the issue with the car, this board doesn't need to hear.
Okay, fine. Well, we're just here about the FEMA trailer.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we're trying to discuss here with the board, that we want, because we have guidelines too that's required by the parish that we follow. And as I stated before, it has to be a family member, and it specifically states that. But, I mean, this board can make a decision on whether or not to grant that variance. But I just want to exert my belief in this particular area, and try to stay legal as possible.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead, sir.
How many lots are in the Hobart Oaks subdivision?
About 25.
How many?
24.
Then you have 28 signatures.
How many?
If there's 24 lots,
Husband and wife,
Husband
both
and wife
sides.
signatures. Some are husband and wife, some are.
so if a husband and wife signed, you could potentially have, what would half of 24 be?
Well, here, right here, I mean, this is,
There's 25 lots.
But my point here is, if you could potentially have as many as 50 signatures.
Right.
So the number 28 does not truly represent how many landowners, lots object.
but again, I'm going to go back to what council said. This is something,
Okay.
their avenue to construct.
I'm just trying to address
okay.
this question here because it's unclear as a true representation.
Some people own 1 acre lots, so you're not gonna have the signatures you think. Some lots are 1 acre lots that people bought, some are half acre lots people bought.
Yeah, I mean,
So you will not have
Yeah,
50 signatures or whatever you think.
I know, but only one landowner per lot should have signed.
Well,
Yeah, well, that's irrelevant.
I know.
Again, this is going back to what I said earlier. This board, that has nothing to do with this board. Okay? We're here to decide whether or not we want to grant a variance on a FEMA, quote-unquote, FEMA trailer. And that's it. Or as far as the rules and regulations and how they're going to address this and all, that's their problem. Sir, I'm going to allow you to do a rebuttal. Ma'am, seeing how you threw your hand up, if you don't mind, she can go ahead first because she hasn't spoken yet. Please,
My name is Felicia Harper. My husband Charles is sitting there. We live at 40081, and I think that's the 5th or the 6th house from,
sixth house from?
right, from there.
Back of the subdivision, in front of the subdivision.
Closest to this,
Close to his
Yeah.
property.
So you
Okay.
live about 3 over from Mr. Riley?
right,
Okay.
right.
Well, in other words, you close proximity
Yeah,
to this property.
yeah.
Very close.
Ma'am, go ahead.
Because our plot is limited to how many lots
Yeah.
that we see.
I just wanted to state that I feel for these people who want to get a FEMA trailer because my mother, who lives in Chauvin, also was flooded. And we've been, dealing with that and driving back and forth to Chauvin and, trying to work on her home and everything. And it's not that I don't think any of these residents don't have some kind of compassion for this request, but, we bought this piece of property. It's a single-family piece of property. I think most of the homeowners take great pride and, try to keep their properties up. I know for Charles and I, we worked hard to be able to buy that home. We worked even harder to keep it and to maintain it. And, with the recent history of the residents on the street, with the widening of the road, there was a lot of trauma and drama where that was concerned. And we've all felt like we already gave up a lot where that was concerned. And other issues concerning other subdivisions in the area. So we're not real keen on any more changes in our subdivision. And it's not that, we don't want to see Mr. Cousins, have a place to live or whatever, but I think it's just, the best use of that property, and I think it's not designed for a trailer to be put behind the houses. And I surely would not impose that upon my neighbors, and I wouldn't like to see anybody else do it.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate your comment. Go ahead, sir, with your rebuttal.
Yes, sir, thank you. Goodness, looks like it's kind of stacked against me. I really am kind of puzzled and shocked. I didn't realize there would be this kind of an uproar against me. I'd spoke with Lee, I think it was probably a month and a half or so ago when I really found out about the zoning thing. I was trying to get it working, and we talked across the fence from each other, and one of his comments at the time was, well, I wish you'd kind of met me right off the bat when this started. He says, if I'd known you right off as a person and met you, I might not have had the objections. And quite honestly, I left that day thinking that it was okay with him. I really am shocked. I thought he might have I didn't know he was coming, and when I saw him, I thought he was actually going to possibly be neutral or retract any objections that he had had. But, like I said, I know it's stacked against me, and I'm looking right now that, I only want something very temporary. I'm currently between girlfriends, and frankly, I don't want to stay in a trailer too terribly long. It makes it very difficult to date. I just need a place temporarily, 6 to 8 months tops, to get my finances together, and quite frankly, I'd even thought about offering to buy one of these people's houses around there, because I will be able to save the money up to get a down payment. And lastly, to address the concern, why I don't have a trailer where I was at. I don't know if anybody's been in Lakeview, but it's almost a ghost town. There are very few trailers even there at all. I was renting. I was not a homeowner there. I was starting to get finances together at the time, and the storm hit, and it's kind of blown everything. I did not really, wasn't one of those that stayed in a hotel that had to be kicked out. I thought I was going to be able to go back, hopefully, at some point in February. So I took it upon myself to, my friends, like I said, I didn't want to wear out my welcome. I stayed with different friends' houses, stayed with Mike for a part time. We're not blood relatives, no, but both of us are only children. I've known Mike since we were at LSU in the mid-'80s, and he's like a brother I had from brothers from different mothers, I guess is the feeling. During the period I was staying with him, Mike was actually having to work in Houston. He was not even at home for most of the time. And this is a man that entrusted me to stay in his house with his wife and his 2 children. There was a remark made a little bit earlier concerning being afraid about me with children. And that hits me a little personally. That offends me. So, I'm sorry that I didn't have time. If I'd have gone down, I'm an amiable person. I could have gone up to each house and met them, but I've been bouncing from place to place, and as I've told you, I've been driving from place to place. I've just been trying to do the right thing, and I was just looking for a little compassion for a few short months to get things together. I had no idea that there was going to be this outpour against me. I'm a nice person. I'm an upstanding person. I have a very clean record. I make a very decent living. That's why I only need just a short time to get things together. So I guess that's my rebuttal.
Okay.
I thank you for your consideration, gentlemen.
Thank you, sir. Does anybody else in the audience want to like speak in favor of or any or against? Okay, go ahead and close this public hearing.
Motion to close public hearing.
Second.
Public hearing is now closed. Do we have any further discussion between board members, or do we need more questions to be asked?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like a few minutes just to think about this. This is one of the toughest ones that's come before us in a while.
I'll second that.
It's not a motion.
I know that, but I will second his
Comment.
Outward comment on that.
Is it possible to have 5 minutes so I can go get a cup of coffee and just think about this? I don't know. You ask me.
No, we won't have to stay.
We got to stay. Okay.
Well, why you can't take a break?
Well, we can't discuss this.
No,
I didn't say discuss it. I just want a little bit of time.
We can't discuss this behind closed doors.
I'll make a motion that we take 5 to 10 minute recess on this because
With the caveat, we don't discuss this amongst ourselves. I want everybody to rest assured. I just want to think about it.
Legal's going to make sure you don't discuss it.
In fact, I'm going to make sure that legal is in back with you, so this is not discussed. If that's okay with you.
That's fine.
If you want to walk around, if you would like to walk around, I don't have a problem with that.
coffee.
But I do not want any discussion between any member of this board about this issue.
I'll be right back.
At this time, I'm going to let board members take a 5-minute break. Bring me a cup of coffee while you're in. All right, the board is back in session. We have.
Everyone feel at ease. I wasn't in back, and there was no discussion with board members about it.
Now, he's legal, so. Okay, we've got the public comment, the public period closed.
Did we close it? Or
I make a motion we close the public comment.
Second.
Public comment period is now closed. Do we have any further discussions, or do we have a motion on the floor at this time?
I have a question for legal. I know you wrote what the parish council, what they put forth as recommendations.
Correct.
Could you refresh me to the best of your, you don't probably have a copy with
No,
you,
I don't.
but could you refresh me to the best of your ability as to what that really said?
It wanted a restriction on time. I know that was one of the matters. It was.
With that restriction on time, how would you remove them after that time is elapsed?
It was, well, the original proposal was that the property owner was responsible for getting the permit. The property owner was responsible for the term of the variance, and at the end of the variance, if granted, then the property owner was responsible for moving it, or the parish was going to move it at his cost. That's what he had to agree to as part of the variance. Allowing, if the parish was going to allow, it was the property owner's, all the property owner's responsibility. He was going to be responsible for the cost that.
And that's in addition to the sewer system as well.
Everything
as
else was his responsibility.
As well as the cable TV that was mentioned also in that proposal.
I don't remember that because I don't know cable's kind of, but anything that was put on there for a secondary residence had to be removed at the end of the time frame. Right. If it wasn't removed by FEMA, the property owner was going to have to be responsible to have it all removed at his cost.
If we gave them a variance for that particular time.
And if it was not removed, then the parish would move it, and they would place a lien on the property owner's property for that cost.
So when you say move, are you talking about go and get it, or
actually
court
physically move
to get it out?
Well, I would not tell them to go get it without a court order. I can tell you that.
Okay.
But I think what it originally, stop me if I'm wrong, okay, but what it originally said was that the owner would be responsible for any cost entertained in moving the trailer and restoring the property back to its original value or natural value that was there prior to the trailer being there, which meant removing any sewer systems, removing any electrical cables, any cable, TV, anything like that. It would be back to the original property.
And that was in a 6-month time limit.
Now, was that's something that was binding?
That's a condition of the variance. No, there's nothing binding. Nothing's binding. It can be a condition of a variance that you place on there. I think what they said, because I kind of looked at it, I went to bring a copy of it because I saw these on the agenda and I forgot to bring it. I thought it said a maximum period of 18 months because the original FEMA deal was 6 months and it could be extended. But it was a maximum of that. But it also said the property owner was the applicant, the property owner was responsible to the parish, the property owner held the parish harmless, and he was responsible for removing the trailer. Now, obviously, I think FEMA removes the trailers, but we were saying that our permit was only good for X amount of, or the variance would only be good for X amount of time.
That's right.
So in that request by the council, then what they were, basically what they said is that they were making a suggestion that we put those restrictions on it.
Correct.
If we did grant a variance, that we put those restrictions on it.
Correct.
Just want to make sure I'm clear on that.
Correct.
Okay.
That was correct. That the property owner was going to take all the responsibility. That would all be a condition of the variance, so that even if FEMA placed the trailer on there, they would know these are the rules.
And we
can
place conditions on.
Okay. I have a question. Is it possible for me to question the gentleman that's wanting to put the trailer there? Ask him one more question.
Yes.
Is that possible?
I'll allow that.
Okay, Mr. Lee. Can I please? Can you come forward, please?
That's Mr.
Yes.
Cousins.
Mr. Cousins?
No, Cousins is the applicant.
Mr. Cousins is going to be the responsible.
Yeah, he's the
but
responsible
now
individual.
Really, this question could go to either one of them
Because
a lot of times when we look at variances for building stuff, we will ask the owner or whatever, or the proposed person, what the minimum size is, or the minimum. Okay, what is the minimum amount of time that you're requesting here, or you're wanting?
Like I'd stated earlier, I was guesstimating 6-8 months, something like that.
6 or 8 months is about all that you would need this trailer if we would grant it.
Yes, sir. That's all I'm hoping for right now. That gives me time to get my affairs in order.
Okay.
Put some financial back. 8 months, if possible, I think was what I was looking.
Chairman, I have a question.
Go ahead, sir.
Mr. Cousins, having heard what legal had to say regarding the obligations that you as the applicant would be responsible for. If this was approved, how do you feel about that?
I don't have a problem with it. As I stated before, FEMA came out to my property already, surveyed the property.
Sir, you're not answering my question. I'm asking specifically, how do you feel about the financial obligation that you would be responsible for to remove the trailer, to remove the electrical, to remove the plumbing, to put it back like it was at the end of the period of a variance if it was to be granted? In other words, you're about to step up to the plate and say, yes, I'm going to make good on this when the time comes to get it off the property.
Definitely.
Because I want that clearly understood.
Definitely.
If this was to be granted, you would be responsible.
I do have one statement to make, though.
Go ahead.
The city of New Orleans is having a problem with the FEMA trailers in New Orleans. They think that if another hurricane hits, people that are living in the trailers are going to hook them up and get out of town. It's a federal offense to move the trailer. I have no problem moving the trailer, putting the land back the way it was. It's pretty easy, actually, because it's right next to the sewer line, it's right next to the electrical. Everything's right there and ready to go.
But FEMA also understands that we have conditions in this parish, and if we apply those conditions, then FEMA will honor those conditions.
That would be fine.
Okay. So I just want to, if you had doubts that it's a federal offense and I can't move it, yes, you can.
That's
because
fine.
that would be a condition of this variance.
That's
And
fine.
FEMA would understand that before, because if the trailer's not on the property now.
No.
So
We
if
still
FEMA had
have,
a problem with that, they're not going to provide a trailer.
I guess not, because we still have to get the trailer.
Right.
That's correct.
And they're going to look at the conditions of the variance.
The paperwork has gone through 4 times with FEMA.
Did you have a question, sir?
I just have one simple question. Where there's trailers at, is there a fence in between you and your neighbor?
Yes, there's a chain fence.
There's a chain fence?
Chain fence. Chain link.
Not a wooden fence.
No. I'm going to take a pause for a minute. You got to understand, this is a situation that's hit just about every parish in the state of Louisiana, and we're all having a problem with that, and we all want to be very receptive to our neighbors in other parishes. But I just want to say this is why I'm allowing these rebuttals to go on, because I think it's very important, because basically tonight we're going to set precedents. I want you all to understand that.
Well, I can surely understand the neighbors, concern over the property value.
Yes, I do.
Okay. I understand that, and there's no hard feelings between my neighbor and myself.
And they shouldn't be,
No.
because I'm not legally allowed to say that.
No, this is all due process.
How about
That's what it's all about.
discussion between us, to me, I don't like the idea of a subdivision having a mobile home, temporary mobile home or anything.
I have a comment on that effect.
But mostly,
let him discuss, please. We've given you
a
enough.
half acre is not a normal subdivision. It's a bigger lot than what a normal subdivision, I think. Whenever they talk about subdivisions, you're talking about where you get 3 per acre, like a quarter of an acre. This is a half acre, So that's what, my feeling is it's a little bit bigger lot in a subdivision per se. And it would be temporary, whereas 6 months or something like that, I still think I wouldn't go longer than that.
Well, and I'm going to be honest with you. I think that if you're thinking about a motion, in that particular motion, we'll have to state whether it's 6 months, 18 months, or anything else, because the council did not particularly say it's 6 months, 18 months. They said this is only an idea that we're sending down to you. So when if anybody makes a motion, that has to carry.
Let me just
Thank you.
How do you think it will affect, or how would it affect someone trying to sell their property right now if they really looked into it to see that it is temporary? I mean, is it something I need to think about? I mean, this is, like you said, we're setting a precedent here, Jim.
You're setting a precedent.
So I want to make sure that we talk this through and that we talk all this out. You
But
see what I'm saying?
You're also talking 6 months. Okay,
Right.
With right now, if you had a house for sale, pretty much within 6 months,
Within 6
somebody's
months,
gonna buy it.
yeah.
They
Right.
need homes.
Right.
Anybody needs homes, he may buy it. Within the 6
Right.
months. If that one open. I'm just Yeah, I don't like a year. I don't like over a year
I don't
because then they pretty much stuck there. You know.
Right.
But that's why I was leading to asking the questions about, is this a long court battle to get it off of that trailer? You know, that trailer off that lot. You know, that was another why I had that question. It's like, or could it be a temporary thing and then it's quick, it's gone after 6 months?
That'll be the parish.
Right. So that's why I was
saying
just,
the parish can come in and take it off immediately.
because I don't want a long court battle for another year, 2 years, and it's stuck there for another year or 2 years.
Here's your legal.
I can tell you this as legal advisor, we're not going to go pull a trailer off that belongs to FEMA. I mean, I don't want to, we're going to get a court order to do it. I'm not going to,
How long?
I don't know that. I don't know that, because, I mean, I'm not going to, I've already advised the council that if this ever came to pass, we're not going to take a FEMA trailer off property because I don't want the federal marshals arresting me. I can be honest with you.
But, and,
You know?
I understand, but what I'm basically trying to get at is, okay, let's for talking, let's just say we grant him 8 months, okay, and so now in the 9th month, the trailer is still there, okay, and then you have to go, the parish has to go get a court order to get the trailer off of there. How long of a process is getting that court order?
I have no clue. This is nobody's ever dealt with this situation before.
That's what we were
the
talking
answer to
about.
his
It could be a long, drawn-out court.
No one's ever dealt with this before. I mean, this is a whole new ball game of interlapping
Exactly.
state,
And that's-
fof local laws, and
That's
that's
why I'm
one of the
taking
issues
time right
that I
now.
want to make clear to everybody, that this is, we can place all the restrictions we want. This is a FEMA trailer.
And we're not talking about family member, okay?
Well, I'm not addressing that issue. I'm just addressing the issue of,
So
you asked me
it'd
how
be a
long, and I
long,
tell you, I
drawn-out
can't
battle
tell
to get
you.
a court order.
Mr. Parent, hypothetically,
Here we go.
if we granted a variance and put the onus on FEMA to ensure that this trailer is moved at such a time, and required FEMA to agree to this before placement of said trailer, would that have any effect?
I have no clue, because I don't know if you can bind FEMA on something like that. I mean, FEMA's not here, so I couldn't tell you whether
They can either accept it or reject it, is
I
that correct?
couldn't tell. Yeah, FEMA could do it one or the other, but I can't tell you what they're going to do. I have
I
no
understand that,
control
but they
over
can
them.
either accept it, and if they rejected it, it would make, hypothetically, a variance null and void if they rejected the condition.
Exactly. If they wouldn't comply with the conditions, but you can't.
You can't put conditions.
You can't put conditions on FEMA at this meeting. They're not here. I'm not going to tell you that they're going to do something and not
No,
do
no,
something.
but
And that's why
I
I
think
don't.
Not
that's
trying
my
to put a
point.
condition on FEMA.
And I putting a condition on the variance. If FEMA accepts it, then FEMA must do this. If FEMA rejects the condition, it will be null and void.
Still conditions.
Well,
I don't know. You tell me. You're the legal expert. That's what I'm
well,
asking.
I don't know if I'm an expert on anything, but I'll tell you this. If you make that a condition of the variance, that's fine. At some point in time, whether FEMA complies with our variance or not is a different issue. It's a FEMA trailer. It's not owned by the property owner, and we do have restrictions, and I've advised everybody that all the time. That's one of the issues that came up.
Yeah.
This is FEMA that we're dealing with. This is the federal government. We could get a court order. They could or may not trump that with a federal court order, and I'm not. And I've always advised everyone that this was a request. I think if you I've done the legal research on this issue many times. If you're operating under the Stafford Act, FEMA does not have to follow local or state law. It's a federal matter.
Yeah, carte blanche, yes.
And you can argue about that. People argue about that all the time, but I mean, that's my opinion, and I've advised the council that, the parish president that, et cetera, that FEMA, operating under the Stafford Act, has plenary powers.
So even if we put in there as a condition that, and I used 8 months a while ago, okay, even if we put in there as a condition of granting this variance, that it also be accepted by FEMA, that they understand it clearly that it's an 8-month variance, and then after that, the trailer would have to go. And if FEMA signed off on that and gave them the trailer and said, okay, we'll agree to that, and they signed off on it, then wouldn't that expedite you going and getting a court order to remove it if you had to?
Well, I could, yes. I mean, I'm
But
not
then
saying
FEMA has said, yeah, we'll do it. I mean, it
I
seems
could.
like you would have some.
Yes, I would be able to file a lawsuit and argue that. I'm not 100% comfortable they'd do it. I'll be honest with you.
Right, I understand.
I mean, I'm dealing with a governmental agency, one governmental agency against another, and that's an issue that, I mean, I have no problem fighting that, but I'm not going to tell you the answer because I don't know. A judge would have to make that decision.
Right.
But technically, could FEMA put that trailer there without this variance?
because
I mean, they may not
of
want
a
to
FEMA
because of a
po-
relationship and policy, but as far as law, could they put it there?
I don't think they could in this particular case, but FEMA has acknowledged a policy that they will not do without the local bodies.
So in other words, we got a policy saying they won't do in advance. Like in other words, if we say no tonight, they're not going to do it. But they
Correct.
haven't said that if we put restrictions, we're going to follow those restrictions.
Correct. Because I mean, I guess I just don't want to make that commitment to you that they will or they won't. I mean, they may if we have some commitment from them, that'd be a different story. But I don't have any commitment from them that they'd do that.
And unfortunately, the council has passed the law.
Well, Mr. Chairman,
I'm not big on what ifs. You know,
Right.
y'all
And
know
I'm
I don't
that.
call for the
I'm not
question.
either.
Go ahead.
And
Mr. Chairman, as much as I would like to champion a motion for approval of this variance, in good conscience, I can't put the parish in a position where we might find ourselves at odds with FEMA over whether this thing's going to come off the property as we would like to see it. I would like to think that FEMA would honor this, but I understand Mr. Parrington's concern, and we have no recourse.
Well, we also do not have any representation
From
by
FEMA.
FEMA here tonight either.
So therefore, it is my recommendation that, because I want to approve it, but I just don't see how we can without putting the parish in a position of jeopardy. So therefore, it is my motion that we deny this petition as written.
As written. We have a second?
As painful as it is, I'm agree with that in my second remarks, but I'm going to second the motion, but in those remarks, I'm just going to say it is very, very painstaking to have to do this, but I have to agree with you 100%. As much as I would want to pass this, Mr. Cousins, I just want to see how we can.
Do we have,
Until they put some
we got a motion to deny as written, and we also have a second. Any opposition? No opposition? Then the motion carries. Variance is denied. All right. Before anybody goes anywhere, we do have Mr. Brad, are you going to be able to attend tomorrow night for the Strategic Planning Commission? Yes. Okay, then I take it that I'm going to go with you, right? Yeah. Okay. Huh? A moral support, huh? Okay. That answers, I think, one of your email questions. Am I going to be available for the Strategic Planning Committee meeting? Yes. Tomorrow. To do a report. And I'll take care of this issue as well as other issues tomorrow night. Is there anything that we need to discuss? Anybody? If not, we're going to go ahead and adjourn.
I'll make a motion we adjourn.
Second.
All right. Meeting's now adjourned.